Hello everyone, this is Kona, and thank you for tuning in to another TF2 commentary. Now, in this video, I wanted to talk about competitive TF2, and in particular, spectating competitive TF2. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I love watching video games. Sometimes I think I like watching video games more than I like playing video games. I watch things like fighting games, so I watched EVIL this past year, as well as the International for Dota 2, and those tournaments were hype. They were very exciting and very enjoyable to watch. And now when I look at TF2, I know there's a lot of people who really want to grow the competitive scene, either growing the players or growing the spectators or both. And I thought, well, what are some of the things that TF2 could maybe learn from other video games to make this thing more enjoyable to watch? Now, in my opinion, there are two major factors that are kind of preventing TF2 from becoming like super mainstream in terms of spectating. One of them is the fact that it's a first-person shooter, and when you look at a lot of first-person shooters, just look at the perspective that these people cast these games in. It's from the first-person perspective, and that sort of makes sense because it is a FPS game, right? First-person shooter game. But when you try to understand the game itself, the strategy involved, the teamwork involved, it's very difficult to get these overall pictures of what's happening from just one point of view. Now, Valve has done a great job in trying to solve this problem, I think, by allowing you to see through the walls or see where other people are when you are spectating a competitive match. And they've been doing this for Counter-Strike Global Offensive as well as TF2. And I think it allows the viewer to understand a little bit more of what's going on in the grand scheme of things, in the entire game, rather than just from one perspective. Now, another thing that could be holding back TF2 is the fact that it is TF2, it is Team Fortress 2. Unfortunately, when you think of TF2, the first thing that probably pops into your head is hats. It's the hat simulator. It's the game where, it's supposed to be for fun, very, very casual. I mean, just look at the art style of TF2. I'm sure they weren't really going for something super serious. You can look at the color scheme, the way people are, the way different characters are exaggerated. It just seems very casual, and to take that kind of seriously, especially for a lot of people who play this very casually, it takes a lot to make them change the way they think about the game. Now, in terms of spectating, I think there are some things that they can do to help improve the spectating experience. The first thing I would suggest is actually showing damage. I know it's not that big a deal. You might think, oh, well, damage is not that important. But I found, especially in these very number health-based games, such as TF2, where you have a certain amount of health, and it doesn't really regen unless you get a health pack or something like that. It's not like Call of Duty or something. Knowing the amount of damage being done and like seeing, that big crit number or something, I think that's very important, and it could be important to the spectator to understand how much DPS people are actually doing and to appreciate, how much DPS that these pros can actually dish out. Now, another thing that could be really cool is sort of like an automatic camera. Now, what I'm talking about is if you ever played Dota 2 and you spectated a live game, quote, live game, I do believe that you're actually watching the Source TV demo, and there are actually algorithms running on the game data to put the camera where all the action is, where all the important things are. And I noticed that sometimes in first-person shooters, the camera cuts to these weird things where there's kind of nothing going on, or they cut to someone and they immediately die, and I'm like, well, I don't get why they died. The camera cut was too fast. I don't understand. And so perhaps there could be some sort of automated camera system that works on a pre-recorded game that figures out the best camera shots, the best camera angles, the timing, all that stuff, so that we missed the air shot. I was going huge on that one. Anyway, some sort of pre-recorded thing to get the best camera shots possible, so that all the camera work can almost tell a story of what's going on, and we won't miss the critical moments in the game. Now, another thing that could make spectating for competitive TF2 a little more interesting is betting. Now, I was actually introduced to betting by my brother, and we actually use a site called Dota 2 Lounge to bet on competitive Dota 2 matches. It's actually pretty interesting, and the thing that we use for betting is, of course, Dota 2 items. Now, Dota 2 Lounge is actually pretty organized. It tells you all the different matches that are happening across different leagues in Dota 2, so you're always up to date as to what's actually happening in the competitive scene. Not every single game is there, but a lot of the games are there. And you're able to actually bet on games. You can see all my histories of what I won and what I lost, different items that you actually bet. And what's kind of cool is all of this is done, all of the betting is done, I think, pretty securely by Steam bots. And so what you do is you go in and place your bet and you trade items to the Steam bot, and these bots hold on to your items, and if you win, you get those items back plus a little bit extra, but if you lose, well, the bot takes those items away and gives it to the actual winners. And what's nice is that you can actually see the odds of someone winning based on how many people bet for them and what your return could potentially be, and even has a stream there. Right now the stream is not really live, but you go to this website and pretty much all the information is there for betting. And it's kind of interesting. Oh, even the chat. And it's really interesting to be able to bet these Dota 2 items. It's kind of like a way of supporting the game. Now, the same concept could maybe be applied to TF2, so that people, when they watch competitive, they'll have a more vested interest of actually watching, because their items are on the line. I don't know what kind of quality items you could trade or you can bet. Oh boy, if people were betting unusuals, that would be so much drama. But anyway, I think something like this could help people spectate or be interested in actually watching TF2, because there's sort of outside metagame going on with the betting. Now, my question for you guys is, what are some ways you could think of that could help grow the spectating or maybe even the player base for competitive TF2? Did that guy just try to taunt kill me with the Huntsman while I was Ubered? That's my move. He almost got me. But yeah, what are your ideas for perhaps, making it enjoyable to spectate competitive TF2 games? Let me know in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice day.